Right. Welcome everybody to School News. I better roll the quick intro. So welcome to School News, March 11. And the first thing we're going to do is introduce a new feature, the map feature. So you can turn it on with one click. If you're an admin or owner of a community, you just click on settings, you go to tabs, and you will see there now map. Display member locations on a world map to help facilitate in-person meetups. Just toggle that on, and it's on. And then you'll see a new tab called Map up the top. If you click it, you can see where your members are on a map. And you'll notice that it's like already populated with everyone on it, or almost everyone. Now, the locations are automatically set when like members sign up based on like IP address. And we add 10 plus miles of noise for privacy reasons. So because we're automatically adding people onto the map, we don't want to like dox anybody. So there's deliberate noise in the locations. And we tested it with a bunch of people to make sure that it's close enough that it's useful, but it's not too close that it's a little bit like scary or something. And so we put this message down the bottom that says pins are off by 10 plus miles for privacy reasons, right? And you are the yellow pin. If you click on yourself, you can like change your location and everything. You can make yourself closer to your location if you want, or you can make it further away. You can remove your location, totally up to you. And this map that we built here, this can handle like over 100,000 pins. There'd been some like third-party maps that people made before that people were using. It was quite a popular third-party app. But the problem is there wasn't that many people on the map because people had to like opt in. And because it wasn't a native feature of Skool, you kind of forgot that it was there. And then you couldn't easily view people's profiles and chat with them from the map. And the other one was it just couldn't handle scale. Like once it got to like a certain volume of pins, the interface couldn't even render. So, this one can scale. And if you click on a pin, you can get a preview of the profile, of someone's profile. So if I zoom right in here, I click on this person, I can see a preview, I can follow them, I can chat, I can view their profile, all from here, right? And you can change your location from settings. You can either click on your yellow pin and then click change location. And here you'll see, change my map location or remove. And if I click on this, I can just zoom in and plot myself exactly where I want. So I can just click like that and move myself around. Bam, done. So that is the map feature. I encourage you to go and check it out right now. See who's around you, see what you think of it, see if you find it interesting. And some people might be wondering, like, why map? Well, if you remember going to like school or college, you would typically find a small group of like 1 to 5 close friends, right? And that's kind of how you interface with the wider community, right? And those 1 to 5 friends are typically based on proximity. Like they were just with you when you started like orientation or whatever, or they lived near you, or they sat next to you, right? They were like close to you. And that's kind of how you formed your smaller group of friends. And I think the map feature allows people to do this. So, people can see who out like, if you're in a community and there's only like 5 people in New Zealand, for example, in a bigger community of thousands of people that's international, that can be quite useful and interesting to talk to the other like 5 New Zealanders that are in this community. Or if someone's in the same city as you, but there's 1,000 people in the community, only one person in the same city as you, then you could meet up with that person, and that having that relationship can make the experience of like being in the community so much more powerful, because that's a tight relationship you can have with one person. And I do think that the overall strength of a community is basically the sum of all the individual connections, right? So the stronger those individual connections are between members, the stronger the community is overall. And yeah, I think that once people find a friend, they're way more likely to show up, and they're way more likely to stick, and they're way more likely to be successful. And that means they're less likely to churn, right? And I do think as a admin or owner, it is cool to see like, where are my members? Because I even realized this for myself. I was like, where in the world are our customers? And you really don't know. Like, geography is like a dimension that isn't really used anywhere, but it's very interesting. So I think it gives you a good view of where all of your customers are. And it could also help you plan meetups or something. Like, your members could arrange meetups themselves. Like, they could say, oh, we're doing a Brazil meetup or an Australia meetup or whatever, right? But you could also tour if you wanted as the group owner or creator. Like, I know AI Jack is doing this a lot. He is going to the major cities, traveling around the world, and actually doing meetups and meeting his members in person. And they love it. And he knows where to go because of, the map. He knows where those major clusters of people are. And yeah, it's just fun. I think Hormozy is quite a big fan of maps.
Yeah, so I've been super excited for this one because I think if I had to like vote for a dark horse feature of the year, it would probably go to the map feature. And so if we think about like what people are buying, right? When people buy in, they're buying access, right? People are buying access to media, they're buying access to community. And so what this allows you to do is create another dimension of access. There's IRL access just as much as their digital access. And so the idea is, and I mean, to Sam's point, a lot of relationships in life happen literally just because of convenience and proximity. Like, that's it. Like, many people, like I'm still friends with the neighbors that I've had in almost every place that I've lived, because not because I think they were, special, and that maybe 7 houses down was different, but the guys who I'm next door with, you just talk more. It's just surface area, right? And so fundamentally, this increases the surface area of connection for the people within your community. And so that's why I think this is so cool. And I think the effects for those of you who lean into this on your churn and your referral percentages is going to be significantly greater than you expect. So that's thing one. Now, from the business side of this, I think there's a couple interesting kind of use cases, and there's going to be more that'll come up from you guys doing it kind of on your own. But one is from a promotional perspective, like for those of you who are showing the map inside of your VSL, showing it inside of your ad, showing it inside of your content. Because the thing is it also provides literal social proof. It's like, there are real people. Here they are, right? Like, it's proof, right? And so a lot of people are like, how do I get proof? It's like, here's the simplest way to get proof that people are in your community, right? Beyond that, I think that it will improve consumption, because basically the close proximity relationships that Sam was referencing act as a filter for how they consume your community, right? So like, I think the college example is perfect, which is like, you're all kind of like, well, what do you think about this? Well, what do you think about this? And then it's like, this thing's happening, but then you have kind of a separate filter to kind of personalize and contextualize the content or the things that are being discussed in your community. So it's like, maybe you have an e-commerce community, but then there's some guys who might be close together. They're like, oh, well, what do you think about this feature? And it just feels like a more trusted kind of area overall. But beyond that, I think that I'm a huge fan of in-person, because I can't guarantee this, but I would, if I were able to bet, I would bet, which is that if you meet people in person, the likelihood that they go from like oh, I'm a member to like a raving fan or a lifer, like increases dramatically, right? And so I would be thinking, how can I facilitate this? And there's kind of like two ways. You go to them, they come to you, and then they go to each other, right? And so the pop-ups is like them self-organizing, which I think is kind of cool because then why would you want to leave? Like you want to know when the next, what pop-ups are happening, right? There's the them coming to you, which is, that's, I would say, less like here it's them coming to you is like you probably pick areas, which I guess in some ways is kind of a merger of the you going to them, but like kind of like AI Jack is doing. And you can either make those for free or you can charge for them, right? Obviously, we have the one-time course, feature that you can repurpose to sell whatever you want, and you can repurpose that feature to sell access to a specific event. And then it's one time and you take it down, whatever. And so there's a lot of cool use cases that the existing technology already supports just by adding this feature in. And I mean, guys, think about it from a membership perspective. If you say on top of this, you have 2 in-person meetups, the value of the membership, I mean, some of you are like, what do I do to charge more? It's like, well, you provide more value. What's the easiest way to provide more value? Have them meet up in person. There's an order of magnitude increase in terms of pricing between virtual and in person, but you can still monetize through the same platform. That's the beautiful part of this. And so if you had if let's say you have a painting community, whatever, if currently you're charging, $29 a month, you could have a tier above that, or your annual also includes 1 meetup in person or 2 meetups in person. And so that'll allow you to have a cool like benefit to selling annual that includes kind of like the hardcore people who really want to go all in. And so I love I mean, you probably are getting some ideas from me just talking about this. There's a lot of cool use cases that this allows you to charge more, provide more value, get people more engaged, get them to stick longer, get people to refer their friends. And so I'll give you a little tactical one, which is when we had the brick and mortar gyms, one of the best plays you can do is go do a meetup and then tell them to bring their friends. It's like IRL marketing, right? Like have them all bring a friend. You can say you can come only if you bring a friend, right? There's other ways you can be smart about this. And then guess what happens? I promise you, if you meet people in person and they spend half a day or a day with them, the likelihood that they buy your $50, $500 a month group goes up dramatically, right? From having that. So those are just a handful of the use cases that I had written down. There's also like buddy systems for accountability and other cool stuff like that. But I'm just super stoked about it. And I think that people will be amazed at how much more hardcore people become when they shake your hands and meet you in person.
Yeah, I remember the first course I ever bought, and it was like how to start a software company. This is going back a long time ago. And I'd watch the training and I'd listen to the calls and stuff. But it wasn't until I went to a meetup in America that it really became like real for me. And those friends, I still know them, I still talk to them, those ones I met way back then. And that led to me actually moving to America and doing all of this. And so it's crazy to think back on some of these things. Sometimes, when you're just getting started in this new world, like if it's entrepreneurship or software or I don't know, whatever it is, something doesn't feel very real until you meet some people like in person. And then you're like, oh, this is real. And these people that are into this aren't weird. Like they're cool. So yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see what emerges from this. Now, that's the map, but we've got some little updates too. So this should say affiliates now supports one-time course purchases. We did the release of the affiliate feature last week, and a lot of people were saying, oh, I wish it worked for one-time course purchases. And then so now it works for one-time course purchases. We shipped that update yesterday. And the main use case here, I think, is free groups. So, they've got a free group, and how they monetize is they've got some different one-time course purchases for sale inside, right? Now, just to tell you how attribution for this works, attribution is set when they become a member, right? And whoever has that membership attribution will be rewarded when they buy a course inside, right? Hopefully that makes sense. We also added a filter on your referrals so that you can see active and canceled. So if I go here, now you can see active and canceled, right? And you can also see like canceling here. And this can be useful because you can, if you've got someone who's in a trial and they're canceling, you could DM them and be like, hey, what's going on? So you can see when they're canceling and you might be able to save them before they cancel. And you can also see who's just canceled and maybe you reach out to them too. And I think these are some small things, but they will make a pretty significant difference to what you can do with affiliates. And then a very small one, but it's something that you see like every single day, which is, pinned post redesign. So we used to have this huge chunky yellow thing up the top. Now it's a lot more minimal, takes up less space. And yeah, that's just a small cosmetic update. And so yeah, we launched the map feature, made some updates to affiliates since we launched it, pin post redesign. And if anyone has any questions, let us know. Kirby, have you seen anything roll through?
I have. There's been a couple. First one is, how do we encourage members to meet up?
Well, first of all, I don't know if you need to, because we turned it on in a few communities like a week ago, just to test, right? Like a beta test. And some people were already arranging meetups in your community, Kirby, and they actually met up and shared photos. So like, I think the natural instinct of a lot of members is to like go to the map and see who's near them. But in order to do that, you probably need to tell them the map exists. And to do that, you probably want to turn it on. So I would turn the map on and then maybe do a post and tell people, hey, check out this map. See who's near you.
There's been phases in my community where it was really good, and then it got less good when I put less focus on it. And I thought back and I asked myself, why did it used to be so good? And even though there was thousands of members, there was really just 10 people in the community that created the heart. And those 10 people were the people that met up in person. So even in huge communities, those people that meet up form the heart of the community. And I think that helps so much. So another question was, if you had a free group, 300 members about skateboarding, what would you do with this new feature?
Wait, sorry, say it again. I was reading the chat.
Someone has a group, it's free, it's 300 members, it's about skateboarding. How could they use this feature? Just
Well, I
turn it
mean,
on?
for skateboarding, you can't skate online, right? So, like, and you typically skate with friends, right? And probably people that live near you. So, like, seeing who lives near you would be pretty key because you could message them and say, hey, like, do you want to go skating together? Also, if you're traveling, like think about if you're thinking of going to a different spot, like I don't know, San Diego or New York or wherever the hell people skate, um, you could message people ahead of your trip and say, "Hey, I'm coming over to New York," and they could show you around local spots, right? So having friends and going to local like that's huge for skating. And we turned it on in a what's that new tennis game called that everyone loves?
Pickleball.
Yeah, that one. Um, we turned it on in a pickleball community and everyone loved it because they could find people to play with, right? They were like, oh, I didn't think there was like 4 people that actually lived near me in this community. That's kind of what people think. Um, and so anything you do in person, if it's like MMA or jujitsu or tennis, pickleball, skating, right? Makes a lot of sense.
Nice. And two more questions. Well, Mosey, when you had gyms, how did you see community form in person compared to communities?
Well, in a gym setting, so believe it or not, a lot of people would attend the same sessions. And so they would only see the same like 15 or 20 people. And so when I would do, once a month or every other month, kind of do a meetup of all the members, they were like, I've never met you before. And so like a lot of people like got married from people that they met at the gym. Like we had like multiple marriages of members with one another, and a lot of people that are lifetime friends because I still see them posting together from having met at my gym 13 years ago. And I'll piggyback on something Sam said. I have been, notorious, like when I bought a lot of information stuff over the past, and my consumption of the digital aspects of it, I would say was abysmally low, but my consumption of the in-person was exceptional. And almost all of the gains that I've made have been from beliefs being broken in person. And so I think that's probably why I'm so bullish on it. Is like almost the majority of the value that I've gotten from any kind of education or alternative education has been from the in-person component. And so free, not free, one-time payment, I don't really care how you use it. I just think that you should use it because it will improve the community.
And final question, it's from this guy called Sam Ovens or Sam Ovens. He says, does the affiliate link work in person?
You have to try it.
That's it for questions.
Actually, I did think of a way it would work. You could set up a QR code redirect to you could get your affiliate link, set up a QR code, show it, get someone to scan it, and it would redirect and attribute you. So that would also work at events and things, like if you're selling something on stage or whatever. Yeah.
There's a nasty use case there, just for everybody, which is because a lot of people don't know how to sell stuff, and nor do they want to sell stuff. But inviting their friends to come to something is a much lower barrier thing. And so if you do, whatever your meetup is, and then you say, hey, existing members, bring as many people as you can, and then you can make whatever offer you want, and then you can have the friend just show their QR code to their friends in the moment and get attribution for all of them. And so you can use the community to generate traffic. And then obviously it's like having like however many people are there that are already members, like every single one of them is essentially like a salesperson on your behalf, and they can just nudge their friends over the edge and have their own QR code and be rewarded for it. Like very nasty in a good way. Also, this is smaller, but on the little updates where it said the filtering referrals with cancellations, you can dramatically decrease churn by targeting the people who are canceling. And so for those who are not already doing it, like it's one of the plays that we have in the gym launch book of how we retain customers. I mean, and fundamentally, this is obviously how to run a gym, but what is a gym? A gym is a coaching business. It's the same thing, right? And so everything, if you haven't read that book, by the way, I'd recommend it. It's 400 pages of how to run a coaching business. But anyways, you can expect to keep about half of the people who are canceling by simply talking to them. And so the key when you have those conversations, whether it's via DM or via phone call, if it's more expensive thing, is to not try and prove them wrong, is to try and prove them right, and then say, cool, well, let me make it up to you, right? If something was bad, or if something was bad, then you might need more help. So maybe you should ascend to the higher level thing, or come to our next in-person event, whatever. This just gives you other ways to figure it out. 'Cause a lot of people just feel invalidated, like they haven't been seen. And so sometimes they just want to have the opportunity to say, like, this was bad. And you'd be like, you're right. That sucks. We should totally do something about that. Can I make it up to you? And you'd be amazed how many people you can save with things like that.
People are asking for insight on data of the affiliates platform wide so far. That'll be coming in future Skool news. And
yeah, I mean, I had a look last week, so it'll be a lot more than this now. But in the first few days, I saw that over 2,000 groups had it turned on, and there was over 50,000 memberships that had affiliate attribution in the first couple days. I think 2,000 people turned it on in the first 4 hours or something. Yeah. So it's probably one of the fastest adoption curves we've seen on a feature. Yeah.
50,000 memberships. It's like half of Baltimore City in memberships. Like that's so many.
Yeah, I will say that one thing I've noticed when I've launched affiliate programs too, and in other businesses I've done, even with Skool when we rolled it out, is it always starts a little bit slower than you think. Because first of all, everyone's got to wrap their head around it. Like, what is it? And then they've got to think like, oh, who could I refer, or how am I going to refer? Right. And it's one of those things that your members need to know it exists first. And you've already, you've got to tell them that, because they're not going to know automatically. And then they need to have a situation where like someone wants to join and they're like, oh yeah, you should use my link, right? Or they've had some time to think about it and they're like, oh, maybe I'll start a little YouTube channel or a TikTok, or a blog or something. And then it starts to pick up momentum. And so it tends to start a little bit slower, but it really picks up momentum with some time. Yeah.
I think I tell the story in the Leads book when I launched my first affiliate program for Prestige Labs. I think that's the story I have in there. But when I launched it like December, like the first couple of days. It was like the first, second, or third of December when I launched it. And it took until like December 26th for sales to start. So I thought it was like the biggest botch of all time. So I did this big webinar. I brought everyone together. I was like, hey, we've enabled supplement sales throughout all the gyms across the US. We, direct flights overnight, like the whole thing, like very, very cool. Everyone seemed excited about it. And then there was just like nothing that happened. And I was like, oh my God, I just spent like $4 million on all of this product. And if no one sells it, I'm going to be in a lot of trouble. And then all of a sudden it literally took 3.5 weeks for, the gym owners to go through the materials, get it all ready, and actually launch it to their communities, after the fact. And so the more sophisticated the people in your community are in terms of affiliates, typically the longer it will take them to launch it, because they have their own promotional schedule. If it's B2B, like they have their own things going on. And so it's like they have to figure out where you're going to slot in, how they're going to message it, how they're going to facilitate it. And so the fact that we have, 50,000 memberships that were sold like is, I think, absurd in a good way.
And a lot of people think that the affiliates feature is only for paid communities, but I saw a really cool use case for a free community in Skool. I wish I remembered the name, but he has a community about content creation. In a free group, he's running a competition to see who can refer the most people to his free group in 28 days. And whoever gets the most wins like a GoPro and a camera and a couple other things. So affiliates works with free communities too.
Cool. Well, should we wrap it up?
Let's do it.
Thanks for attending, everyone. Go check out the map, turn it on in your community. See you soon.